Hello there, this is Greg, and today we are talking about strong passwords. Now, you might be asking yourself, what exactly is a strong password? Or what do I mean when I say strong password? Well, that's that thing that happens when you're trying to create a new account. Could be anything. And it asks for a password, and you're typing in the password, and it says, not strong enough, or your password is weak, or something like that. And it wants you to it has rules that you have to follow. There has to be an uppercase letter, or a number, or something like that. That is a strong password. So why is it important for us to have strong passwords? The bottom line is, the hackers out there in the world, the bad guys, they are constantly trying to guess or crack your passwords. This has always been the case. The reason we have passwords is because we've got sensitive information out there. We got financial stuff or personal information or things like that. And we don't want people to have that, of course. And so we protect it with passwords. Passwords have been around since the dawn of man. And so the bad guys, since the dawn of man, have been trying to figure out our passwords. So what's the deal with a strong password? Basically, the way that it works is the simpler your password is, the easier it is to either guess or crack. Now, when I say crack, what I mean is the hackers will use computers, and they'll basically try all different combinations of characters to try and guess your password. There's different ways that they might do it, and one is called a dictionary attack. And what that means is that it's not that they're just throwing random characters, they're actually trying to guess your password using common names or information that's important to you. And so that's why it's so important not to base any of your passwords on real names of people or like your anniversary date or real numbers that actually mean anything, a phone number, anything like that, because the hackers, they've got access to all of that information. And so the first things that they're going to try, let's try your phone number. Let's try your previous phone number. Let's try your old street address where you grew up. They have all that. And so they're going to try and guess using all those common things first, and other common words or phrases. They're going to try all those things. That's called a dictionary attack. And then the other type is called a brute force attack, and that's where literally they're just trying every number combination known to man. And those are harder. They are really hard, but it is interesting. So if you take, most of our phones or many of our phones will take a 4-digit PIN to unlock it, and just a numeric PIN. Now, obviously, a computer isn't trying to unlock your phone. That's just you yourself and your thumbs. But if you were using just a 4-digit numeric password on a program, on a website or something like that, it takes less than 1 second for a computer to try every combination and get the one that works. So less than a second for a 4-digit. But the more character options that we introduce into the situation, and then the more characters that we will use to build our password, the harder and harder and harder it is to do that brute force attack. And so if you have an 8-digit password, and if you use all 90 some odd characters on the keyboard, that takes years for a computer to guess, because it's so many combinations, right? Unfortunately, most websites, once there are more than a handful of failed attempts, it will no longer allow any input. So that's good. There's a lot of things that protect against these sorts of dictionary or brute force password attempts or cracking, hacking types of activities. But everything is not protected, and so we still have to do our very best to do good, strong passwords. So you all hear about, a strong password. It wants to be at least 8 characters long. It wants to be both uppercase and lowercase, and we want numbers mixed in there, and we want also special characters. Like if you were to hold down the Shift key and press one of the numbers on your keyboard, those symbols that are above there, exclamation point, $, question mark, not question mark. You know what I mean? Those are the special characters. So by mixing all of those together, that then means you've got 90 some odd character options for each one of those characters in your password. So that's neat. Make really complicated, crazy, wacky passwords. But what's the big problem with a strong password? You probably guessed it, is remembering them, right? You could just kind of do hit your keyboard and kind of button smash and come up with a random password. But how in the world are you going to keep track of that, right? So there's a couple different ways to do it. The easiest way is you let your internet browser, whether you're using Chrome or Safari or Firefox or whatever, all of those nowadays have the ability to suggest a strong password. And when you look at that, it's like, what, am I launching a missile here? What is this? And that's fine. You go ahead and take the suggestion that it gives you and use that, but then make sure to also allow your browser to remember that password. Now, nothing is absolutely impervious or foolproof, but the browsers are a really good solution. They are more reliable than you or I as far as remembering these things. So in general, there's no problem trusting those major browser vendors to save your password there. And so take the suggested strong password, use that for any new account, or if you're changing your password or whatever, use that strong password and then save it when you go to move on to the next screen and it asks you, do you want to save this password or do you want to update this password? The answer is yes. Yes, you do. Now, sometimes that's not an option. And so you want to come up with your own strong password. Well, how are you going to do that? There are some do's and don'ts. There are some very common substitutions that you might be tempted to make, like instead of using the letter A, you'll use the little @ symbol, the ampersand. That's the other one, the @ symbol. Or instead of using the letter 0 or the letter O, you'll use the character 0. Instead of using the letter S, you'll use a $sign. And yes, that does introduce special characters in, but the bad news is, though, that those are so common, those substitutions, that those are built right in to the dictionary attacks that the hackers will use. So they might try the word password, but then they're also going to try the form of password that is P, @ symbol, $sign, W, 0, D, right? They're going to, the secret's out, and we can't use those easy substitutions anymore. I'll share with you my favorite. What I do, if I need a strong password, is I will take the lyrics to a song or a poem or something where it's a lot of words, not like hundreds of words, but just a string of words of something that I definitely am going to remember, and I'll take the first letter from each of the words in that phrase, and I'll just string those together, and then I'll throw in some special characters, and I will mix the upper and lower case in there. And frequently it ends up being longer than 8 characters. In fact, sometimes it's been too long, and it's easy to remember. All I have to remember is which song lyric or poem or whatever, what am I quoting? And then I'm just kind of going through it in my head as I'm typing in my password, and then do I end it like with an exclamation point or something, whatever. And boom, that actually becomes a very strong password because it's not an actual word, and it's nothing from my past. It's not like my old address or my anniversary date or anything like it. It's nothing that anyone can ever look up, but it's also something that I can remember. So, like I say, sometimes we don't really have a good option for using the browser to create a strong password for us. There's a nice, easy way to create one, and you can even write it down in your notes in terms of reminding you which quote are you using, and you just remember sort of your own personal formula that you use to create that. You would never, ever, 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 ever want to literally take the letters and stick it in a document anywhere, especially an electronic document, as, okay, I saved, here's my banking password, it's ADCL. Never, never, never do that. If you want to write it down on something and save it away somewhere carefully, then okay. But what's better than that is just to remind yourself of the formula that you used, like what song is it, and what was the special character that you introduced or whatever. Anyways, hopefully you get the idea. Try it out. It works really well. The good news is, if you forget your password, it's not the end of the world. You can always just do the forgot password and go back in and reset a new password. One last comment on the strong password strategy is that there are no unimportant passwords or accounts, right? It's easy to say, oh, this is just my Netflix. it doesn't need a strong password. I'm just going to use password 1 for my password for Netflix because it doesn't really matter. No one can spend my money using Netflix. Well, actually they can, but that's not really the point. You don't want to give anybody the opportunity to learn more about you. And every account that you have says something about you. And even if it's just simply, hey, this person has an account on this service. They have Pinterest. It doesn't even matter so much what's on it. That tells them something about you, whatever it might be. So don't treat any passwords lightly. Always use strong passwords. Use unique passwords for every different account. Don't share passwords between, this is my password that I use for all of my entertainment accounts. No, don't do that. Everybody, excuse me, every account gets its own unique strong password. And this will make the world a safer place. It'll keep you more well protected. There's always risks, but our goal here is to reduce them as much as we can. So that's strong passwords. If you have any other questions, feel free to send those in comments, and I will do my best to answer them. But thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will talk to you soon.